In 2005, we took a jet boat tour from Moab, Utah to Canyonlands National Park. This is part 3 of 3 of the shorter edited version of the tour. This part takes you from the Thelma and Louise Point to Canyonlands National Park and back to Moab. Like, comment, and subscribe if you like this content.
We're going to go down here around the corner and get off the boat and stretch our legs. Okay.
Not warm enough.
Yep.
My head's on to have Are we supposed to keep walking?
He said we'll see you tomorrow.
That's a nice trail, though.
Where they're thinking they came from were the ancestral Rockies, but they're not absolutely sure on that. But it's all a guesstimation. But they think that they got uprooted from those high mountains, floated down some type of water deposit, and actually got stuck right here in this big mud flat. Now all the trees that are down here are all laying down just like this, so they know that they weren't growing here because none of them are standing up. But they believe that the trees actually floated down, got stuck in the mud, they got covered up layer upon layer. They fossilized, and then as the river started to cut down through the canyon, it eroded away all the sandstone, but left the trees for us to see because they're much harder than the rest of the rock. So that's why we still have the trees. This layer that it's stuck in right here is roughly around 245 million years old. So, give or take a few years. Yeah. I don't think it really matters. That's about how old the trees are. Wow. This is part of Dead Horse Point State Park, so you can't take any trees out with you today, okay? Although they did say you guys could have these two right here.
If you can carry them out, you can have one.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyways, yeah, it almost looks like somebody cut them in perfect little pieces, but Forest Service cut is what we call it. Anyways, take your pictures here. We're going to walk just right over here. We're not going to go too far. We're going to show you some more trees. You can see some pieces up there along the edges there, and there's some other little trees over here. We'll go over here and show you. We'll show you some fossils, and then we'll just head back to the boat. Be careful on the loose rocks, okay? Don't step on any of that loose stuff. Full thick layer out there, filled with it. This is a fossilized oyster. It comes out of that sand that you guys just walked up through.
This is better than not yeah.
There's a brachiopod.
Yep.
One that's polished. This one comes out of, that's what it looks like when it comes out before it's polished. This is a piece of an arrowhead, just the tip of it. Here's a scallop. Here is a piece of horned coral. Oh, thank you. It's like a little table.
Right.
We'll put some more on there.
Okay.
That's some horned coral. This is a piece of dinosaur bone. And this is a it's a piece of leverite.
Right.
Yeah. Leave her right where you found her, you know. That's nothing, but anyways, there's some fossils for you guys to look at.
Some more petrified wood there.
Here's the oyster, and here's the mussel. So, anyways, it starts to clear up a little bit, and upstream we get some. tractor to pull those out. It's got a shallow root system and a deep root system. It's just amazing how they just hold everything in. But one thing it has done is it's kind of created the river where it kind of has a channel now. It's before it kind of just cut into everything. Well, now it's just kind of holding everything there.
Slows the erosion, yeah.
So it slows down the erosion a little bit, but and now we have the wonderful mosquito thanks to that tree. Yeah. So it takes all the water out of the river and makes a nice little moist climate for the mosquitoes. And we used, yeah, and we used to be where you didn't hardly see any. I mean, it was just unusual to see a mosquito, and now we just have tons of mosquitoes, and especially in the summertime. It's right there. In the summertime, they say we'll drink anywhere from 50 to 200 gallons of water per day.
Oh.
So if you count all the trees that we've passed, that's a lot of water that's being absorbed. And like I said, all this water's used up downstream. Yeah, well, that's why. It's just amazing. They say by the time this river reaches California, you can take 1.5 million gallons of water off of this river because that's about how much it's drinking. So every week or something like that. It's amazing how much water it drinks. So it's a pretty tree. I say it's a plant that we love to hate because it's beautiful and green along the river, but it's just got some few problems, and it crowds out our natural vegetation, which we don't have a lot of. But the sandbar willow, if the sandbar willow can get up through it, then it tends to do all right. And the sandbar willow's that real narrow leaf looking stuff that we walk through, kind of a sticky looking tree, but you'll see it more just around these trees. Dead Horse Point State Park, the actual point. You want me to show you? Oh, is that what you're waiting for? Right up here on top of this highest cliff, all the way up on top and all the way to the right, you can see a canopy up there on top. It almost looks like a hang glider getting ready to come off of there. And if you come just a little bit back from where that canopy is, just a little bit to the left there, to that next little highest point, or kind of where the sun meets the shade, and go directly up on top, you can actually see somebody standing up there on top there.
Oh.
Take the binocs out.
So you believe that?
You'll see him up there as soon as he puts him up there. He'll be like, oh, yep, there he is.
There's actually 2 or 3 people up there.
Yeah, there is. There's a person in a dark clothing. I don't know what it is. Anyways, if any of you have seen the opening scenes of Mission Impossible 2 with Tom Cruise hanging off the cliff, that's where it was filmed. Up there at Dead Horse Point, the opening scene. Anyways, I'll turn the boat so you can see it. You can drive your car right out to that point. You have to get out of your car, walk on a concrete path about 20 yards, but I think you guys can all handle it. It's not too bad. But anyways, what it is there's 15 acres up there on top, and that 15 acres is all surrounded by cliff, all but one little spot where you could drive 2 cars out to that 15 acres. So there's a real narrow neck behind this big section there. What the cowboys used to do is they used to herd the wild horses out there. Then they just have to build a little fence. They wouldn't have to build a big corral to corral the horses in. So it just made an easy place for them to go in and collect them. And there's lots of stories and legends about how Dead Horse Point got its name. And they'll tell you all kinds of stories when you're out there. But they did find some horse carcasses up on top. Not off the cliff. We get a lot of people that say, oh, the cowboys drove the horses off the cliff. And if you want to believe that, I always say, come out here in July when it's about 120 and go out to I-70 and get dropped off and walk back to Moab without using the asphalt road and see how far you make it. Yeah, horses were just way too valuable. There's no way a cowboy would ever intentionally hurt a horse like that. They would sell it before they would kill it. But the story that they tell you out there is they think that it might have been an accident, and what they think might have happened is when they herded them out there, it made an easy place for them to corral them and collect them, so they went in, gathered up the horses that they wanted and the ones that they needed, left with those horses, opening up the gate, expecting that the ones that they didn't want would be smart enough to walk back off by themselves. Well, the problem with that is they were scared from being chased out in that direction, and also they could see the river and smell the water down below, but they couldn't get down to it. So some people think that maybe some of the horses may have stayed out there dehydrated and died. Some people say that that the cowboys herded them out there, that they were so excited that they jumped back on their horses, rode into Moab, went to the saloon, got in a saloon fight. Well, the sheriff threw them in jail for a couple weeks. Well, by the time they got back out there, the horses were all dead. I mean, anyways, we could go on and on, but we're gonna end. Some people say it was misnamed in other ways too. All you have to do is slur the name a little bit, and you'll figure that out. If you look upstream now, and I can't tell you that story, or else I would. I got in trouble this is the beginning of this year, so I can't tell you that story anymore. So if you go up there, you'll hear it. You know, you can read the book on it. But if you look right up there, where it looks like it's an upside-down boot rock formation up there on top. Or I had a little girl the other day that said, "That's not an upside-down boot. It looks like my dad's lazy boy with his remote on the end of it." Well, whatever you want it to be, okay? But that little area right there is what we call the gooseneck or the horseshoe. And what happens is the river comes down, hits right here on this wall, then the river comes down here behind you guys, makes a big horseshoe bend to the left, the river goes around this big section of rock, and the river comes right back around and hits right there on the other side. It's only about 400 or 500 yards apart right there. So if you stand up there where that boot is, you can see the river here and over there. That's how narrow it is. And the reason why I point that out is because we're going to go downriver, we're going to be on the other side of that, and you'll be able to get your bearings from the other side. So
is that the part that think's going to eventually erode?
Yes, eventually the geologists believe that the river will actually eat through that section and take a shortcut through there, and the river won't come down this way anymore. But give us about 10,000 years, okay? Yeah.
That's how long it takes.
Yeah. And I'll be your guide. You guys can come back. Yeah. And just since you guys have been so nice to me today, I'll sell you discount tickets today.
Good for them.
Yeah, you just pay me cash.
Yeah.
Yeah, no post-dated checks. Has to be cash. And I'll bring you back down here. Yeah, don't go through the office because it voids everything. Yeah, because they have to do all that paperwork stuff, you know. Yeah, don't want it to fall down. Nobody's buying into that, huh?
I don't think so.
I thought maybe the Canadians would.
We'll talk.
Afterwards. We got to show you now. First off, we'll start over here. We'll get this over with. You look right over here. You see Canyonlands National Park freshly painted just for you guys. Yeah, we came down and painted that up for you last week. Anyways, the upside down boot that I showed you guys on the other side is now, it's right over here, but it's a little different. It's, right up there. It's actually the profile face now of Yogi Bear looking upstream. And his old friend Boo Boo's down below with his thumb in his mouth. Or he's playing the saxophone. I don't know what doing over there. But if you look close to Yogi Bear, you'll notice he's got a little Zorro mask tied around his little eyeballs. If you look even closer, you'll notice he's been drinking milk. Yeah, I've been doing this tour just a little too long. You guys are like, what a weirdo. Nobody's saying anything.
Just agree.
Well, thank you. Thanks for agreeing with me. Hurts my feelings when you don't do that. If you look even close now. This little alcove that's just coming into view down here, you'll be able to see the back of it here in just a second. It doesn't go back very far, but that little area is what we call the grotto. And every year in September we have a music festival that comes to Moab. It's usually the first 2 weeks in September. And out of that first 2 weeks, it's usually the first 2 Thursdays in September. We bring about 200 people down here by jet boat. They all get off right here. They go up in this little alcove behind the trees here, and we have a little natural symphony, or actually it's chamber music and opera back up in there. Every year they at least bring down one baby grand piano down by jet boat and haul it back up in there. And here's the brochure if you guys want to pass it around. You can look through it. You can see the piano back up in there. It's not a real good picture, but you can see it back up in there. 2 years ago, they hauled down 2 baby grand pianos by jet boat and hauled it back up in there. But what they come down here for is the acoustics. The acoustics are just unbelievable. The sound just travels out of there like you wouldn't believe. I bring people down for it every year, but I anchor up out here in the river and fish while they're back up in there doing their thing. But I can hear every word that they're saying up in there out here in the river. Then our local wineries come down and serve you wine, cheese, and crackers while you're back up in there. Last year this year that was just mostly piano and violins and stuff like that. But last year we had bagpipes, cellos, harps, all kinds of stuff back up in there. It was
One hauling
unbelievable.
a piano in there.
Yeah, wouldn't that be fun?
Oh,
It
yeah.
takes 6 guys to do that.
Little narrow path, yeah.
Haul back up here, go right up this wash right there. Yeah, if you watch Channel 21, if you're staying in a hotel room on the TV, watch that for a little bit. I think it might still be playing, but they actually show you the people hauling the piano back up in there. It's pretty neat.
How many people can fit back there?
200's pushing it. I mean, you can put a few more, but that's about it. About 200. But
To what time do you think we'll get to Lake Powell?
about 5 o'clock this evening. Yeah, and we'll fly back by airplane.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is actually Disneyland. We're just waiting for the conveyor belt down here to take us back up. That's what we're waiting for. Yeah. Yeah. And these guys thought they went to Moab. We're actually in Disneyland, guys. Yeah, we're just telling you.
Hippos are gonna lay
Yeah, the hippos are gonna pop up out of the water here.
Yeah.
The University Shark.
The thing is, how far are we from the green river?
From here about another 4 miles from here.
Well, that's the end of the tour. Like and subscribe, please.